Well, sorry for my voice. Got a bit of a sore throat, but I'm not contagious on the other side of a camera, so don't worry about it. Well, we are making orange lemon jam, or marmalade, as you already saw on the thumbnail. But besides that, we are also making an experiment because we are going to use our regular recipe using sugar to make the marmalade, and then we're going to make a batch where we use stevia to see if we can make a sugar-free marmalade that actually tastes good. So that's.
I'm sure we can.
I'm sure we can.
That will be my jam.
We will manage. But first up, we need. First of all, I have a shit ton of oranges, as you can see, and about maybe not 50% lemons. You don't want too much lemon. Also, if you go 50-50, it becomes too lemonish. But we want some of the peel first. So potato peeler, and then we're going to take off some of the peel here. Oops, be careful with that. You don't want that white thing in your jam because that becomes very bitter. So off with some of these.
So you have to peel them superficially as much as possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, a thin layer like that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because that you cannot avoid, but you don't want to have that thick white. It becomes bitter in your marmalade. So don't do that. Then we stack it up like this, and we take our chef's knife, and we're just going to cut it julienne, because that gives nice texture and flavor in your marmalade. I'm probably going to do, I would say, 10 oranges, something like that for the 2 pots I have. But I'll continue with that, so that will take me a good 10 minutes to do that. So see you when I have cut all those. Well, I stopped at 6.
Yeah, because I don't want any of this in my jam. They're
So
very acidic for my stomach, honestly.
So we will put these only in the sugar one. Small trick here. You see my pot? 1.9 kilogram. I weigh my pots before because then I don't have to shift and make more dishes. You know, if I have to put it here to weigh it and then put it in a pot afterwards. So if I know the weight of my pot, I can put it on my scale when I'm finished with the oranges and bam, bam. So I'm just ergonomically doing it like this. So
you're proactive.
Yeah. This goes straight in. There we are. Into the pot we go. That was one that escaped. And then we're going to continue with the oranges. And it's a simple process, a little bit tedious work, but off with the ends. And then we cut down like this so we get all the peel off and try to avoid leaving much of the white stuff we talked about before.
Bitter.
Yeah, that's bitter. So off with all the peel. It's pretty simple. And then cut them down the middle and quarter them. And these are fortunately without stones. These are actually oranges from our local village here from a friend. Completely biological, very nice product.
Yeah, they have no chemicals, no spray, no nothing.
Nothing.
Just water.
Yeah, exactly, just water. And then into chunks like this. I like to have chunks in my marmalade. If you want to make jam, by all means, then you do the same like this, and then you basically blend it when you come to the end with your immersion blender. I'm going to continue with this whole box of oranges and lemons, and then I'll see you when we are ready for the next step. There we are, 2 pots of oranges and a little bit of lemon. Tedious work, but well worth the effort. I know that because we've done orange marmalade before, and it's excellent. But last time we did it, we were using 50% sugar weight to the fruit meat. And still it's a little bit too sweet for us. Many recipes, they call for 1-to-1, which is way too sweet.
Too much. Yeah.
So we're going to reduce it a little bit more this time, and we were going to go down to 1/3. But you do you. If you want it sweeter, do whatever. But we're going to go down a little bit here. So let's start with the one that's going to be with sugar. Here we have a pot that weighs 1.9. And it ticks in at 6.3. 4.4 kilo. And that means that I will go in with, it doesn't have to be ultra precise, 1.5. Yeah, 1.5 kilo of sugar. So let me get this open.
It seems so much. Just go with 1 kilo, I think.
Okay. We tried it before. We go down next time. We will try differently. So 1 kilo in.
So,
Because
and half more about.
Exactly. And now we're at 7.3, obviously. So 7, 8.
7, 7.
7, almost 8. There we are. Perfect. 1.5 kilos sugar in. Now, what we do before we move on to the other one is we're going to give this a quick stir. We will have to do this much more, but I want the sugar to start extracting liquid from the fruit. Do yourself a favor and just mix it roughly first and leave it for a bit. Because,
and do it again later.
Yeah, because if you start mixing now like crazy, you're just going to get very tired. So we leave that for a bit over here. Now we're going to deal with the stevia one. And here it was 1.3. And we have 3.6. So that's 2.3. But stevia is more sweet or sweeter than sugar, depending on what brand, because I have 2 different brands here. This is actually made 1-to-1, so a teaspoon equalizes a teaspoon. Here, 1 teaspoon is 2 teaspoons. So now we have to calculate. This is going to be interesting. This is 300 grams of 1-to-1 to sugar.
What's the total weight there of the 2.3?
3.6 minus 1.3.
Yeah, so 2.3.
Yeah.
So we need it would be 800 grams, 700 grams, 750 of sugar.
So this would be, this is double, but this is 300 grams, so that's almost half of what we need. So we take this.
Only this, I don't want more.
You are sure?
Yes, I don't like it.
Okay, that's up to you. We will test it tomorrow, then we see. The good thing here is actually, when you make jam, you can always make it sweeter, but you cannot unsweeten it. So better go lower than you think, and then when we are boiling it, then you can always add more sugar when you taste it is not sweet enough. So we do the same thing here. We give this quick little stir, like this, and we set this aside, and then we deal with this one. As you can see already, it has already extracted a lot of liquid here. So now we just want to keep stirring for not very long, because it goes pretty fast actually. We want to extract or dissolve all the sugar so that sugar works much like salt actually. It extracts liquid from whatever you put in there. Exactly. And there you see, it's all dissolved and you have quite a high level of liquid. So get all that down here, the flesh, and that gets a lid. And we do the same with the stevia one, and see actually exactly the same. Exactly the same happens. Exactly the same. So the only tedious work is cutting the oranges. After that is easy peasy. So now we're going to close these up, and we're going to put them in the fridge, and we're going to let them macerate overnight. This is an important step. You do not want to boil them straight away, because the flavors mellows out and they become much more bitter if you do it right now. The maceration helps a lot. So see you tomorrow. So it's the day after, and we have our nicely macerated oranges here, just so all the liquid is out. Give it a quick stir around if there should be any sugar left in the bottom, which there isn't, but just to make sure that everything is nice and combined. Then it's very easy. Actually, all of this is easy. The only thing is cutting the oranges. That takes time.
That was crazy.
We fire this up and we bring it to a boil. And the same goes for our stevia one here, which, I don't know, we will see about the sweetness of this one, because you stopped me there yesterday putting...
Yeah, I don't like it very sweet. Let's see.
We will see. We will see. Significantly less liquid in this one, though, than the sugar. I think the sugar is better at extracting the liquid, but that will all change when we put it to a boil. So start this up also. And now we just wait, bring them up to a boil, and then we see how it goes. And when everything is up to a boil like this, see the foaming on top here, then we're going to turn down this to low, And then we're going to let that simmer for at least an hour. Stir occasionally. Same goes for our... Well, that's more rigorous. Maybe turn that down. But that we will let go for, let's say, at least an hour. Give it a stir, and then we will finish it off, thicken it up, and jar it after. This has been at a low simmer for half an hour. Definitely not ready, but I wanted to show you something, because if you miss a seed or 2 or 3 when you are plucking all this, it doesn't matter, because they float to the top as the flesh starts to soften up. So then you can just peel them here from the top. So you don't have to be really precise when you're cutting up the oranges. Just let them go, and the pips, they will come up by themselves. So just a small trick to make it easier on you. Now we've been going for actually an hour 15. And let's take a look here, because now you can see all the flesh is broken down and it's nice and uniform. You still have a little bit of pieces that I want in my marmalade. So let's take the lid of this one. And then we're going to look at the one with the stevia. It's a little bit interesting, actually, that the color is very different. The sugar one is much more orange than the stevia. And last time when we made it with sugar before, it was also more orange. So that's definitely a difference here. But it looks good and it smells good. I took out 2 spoons, one of each, to let it cool down, because be careful. Sugar boiling is significantly warmer than 100 degrees when you boil water, so be careful. But I want to taste now the stevia one to see if it's sweet enough. Surprisingly enough, it is actually, so you were right, because I wanted to put more. No, it's perfect. Okay. Let me try the one with the sugar. As I said, we reduced now to 1/3 by weight. To last time we did it by half. So let's try. Ooh, that's much better. I mean, there's a link down below to the one we made previously. 1/3, for me, it's perfect. It's sweet, but not so your teeth, they are grinding, you know, so it's very good. But you said, camera wife of mine, that you wanted this to become jam.
Yes. So
before we start thickening anything up here, I'm going to turn that into jam. So I'm going to take my immersion blender, and be careful. This is hot, so and that's why I use pots with high walls here, so you don't have an issue. And now we're just going to blend this up until we get a smooth, consistent jam. Our jam, smooth and nice, and it actually relatively thick on its own.
You see, stevia works better.
It's a little bit weird, okay.
And maybe because you pulp it.
Yeah, but of course that thickens it up, because you take all the flesh out. But this one, definitely, we want to thicken this up a little bit. We don't want runny marmalade, we want it to be thicker. You can do this in a variety of ways. If you are going with the original 1-to-1 sugar by weight, then it will thicken up on its own simply by sugar. But since we only have 1/3 by weight of sugar, this is not going to thicken up. You could use pectin, like we did last time. Couldn't find, so we're going with gelatin. That's the other choice. And the analogy here is, if you have a marmalade like this, you need a teaspoon per half liter, or a teaspoon per 2 cups of pulp, or whatever you want to call it. So I have about 5 liters, so 10 teaspoons. Want to dissolve this in some hot water.
5 tablespoons or not?
Yeah, but that was teaspoons. No, it's not the same, because a tablespoon is not 2 teaspoons. So
I always thought it is.
You want to dissolve this, give it a little bit more water, because it's a thickening agent, so you need some hot water to dissolve it before you can. If you put it straight in the marmalade, it's not gonna. It's gonna clump.
Make lumps, maybe.
No, exactly. Here you can dissolve the clumps pretty easy, but it takes a little bit of time to stir it out when you are using powdered gelatin like I am here. If you get it in these sheets, see-through, then you also have to dissolve it in water and get it out. So
yeah, before you use it.
So let me just get all of these dissolved here. There are still some left. So this goes in to set our marmalade. But as I said, this is quite thick on its own. So now it's a question how thick you want it, because this is yours.
Yeah, thank you.
So
that's a nice gift. And maybe a little bit thicker than what it is now. So put less than yours.
Yeah, but it is much less here
Yes.
because this is like 3 teaspoons. So I think that will
Okay.
match pretty
We will
fine
see
on
if
this.
we add more, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, better put
Better
less.
put too little and add again than put too much, and then it gets thick like jelly, and then you can't change it again. So here we go, in with that. So both of them, and now we let them go for 5 to 10 minutes, not more. You won't see any thickening while it's boiling because it will thicken up as it cools down. But we just want it to set properly. So 5-10. We gave them 10 minutes and then we switched them off. So now they have cooled down ever so slightly. You do want them warm though, because when you fill up your mason jars, I will show you, then they vacuum seal on their own when you close them. Sanitized mason jars, and keep them in an oven pot like this because this is still 90 something degrees warm, and you do not want, if it cracks, you don't want this running all over and burn your legs and stuff like that. So
Safety.
that's the safety precaution here. So now it's basically just a question of giving this a good stir, and then we start filling up our mason jars. And as you will see, when we fill it up and when we close it, exactly, then you will see that that's sort of part of the preservation method, is that when you do this warm, you can do the canning method if you want to, and then put them in jars and put them in boiling water and boil them out and all this. It's way too much work and it's completely unnecessary. This works absolutely fine. And this is how we've been doing it also when I was a kid, when my mother was making marmalade or my grandmother, whatever, they were doing exactly the same thing. We fill it up with the warm.
And you're still alive.
Yeah, exactly.
It
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. So I didn't die from it. So, and you want to fill it up, but you want to leave a little bit of air on top, so you allow for the vacuum to form. So we move this over, and you see I still have like, I don't know, an inch or something like that. And then we simply close it straight up. And then as it cools down, it contracts and then it vacuums itself. So now you have a shelf-stable product that you can keep over the winter. This is homesteading one-on-one. I will keep filling this and then I will see you for the taste test. That was quite the production. And this isn't even all of it. We have more on the side over here. But now we have to taste it to see how we did. So the marmalade part is now chilled down a little bit, and you can see the consistency here. It's how I like it. If you want it thicker than this, you should just add some more gelatin or more pectin. But this is a perfect consistency for me. Cracker, toasted bread, whatever you have, just to give this a taste. Crunchy. That is perfect. And for me, that is the perfect sweetness. 1/3 sugar to the weight of the fruit. Absolutely fantastic. And it's not bitter at all. So really, really nice. Let's try the stevia one, just to see.
You have to be fair.
That became. I am.
In your
I'm always
judgment.
fair.
Yeah.
That became quite thicker, but that was expected, of course, because we blended all the fruit meat. So, but
Well, I know you like more with bits and pieces in there of the fruit, but
flavor-wise, sweetness, perfect. You don't catch at all that it's not sugar. It has the right sweetness. I prefer the texture of the marmalade over the jam, but that is a personal preference. Both perfect products, and you can actually make a kick-ass and a kick-ass marmalade or jam with no sugar at all. Perfect product. Give it a shot, it's worth it.